Gather your arms, my friends. It is a crime that Noble Knights is not more represented inside of this meta. Why? Because this is a very underrated deck. The ability to make Isol, King Arthur, Sacred King Kustanin on your side of the field and just dominate your opponent with untargetable monsters that are really strong. You might have to pick up your arms to start another crusade in the name of England just to show how people how powerful this deck is. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then go and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, go ahead and that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. I also want to give a special thanks to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. Also, a mad shout out to our newest Patreon, Jonathan Coburn. Welcome to the clan. And with that being said, I am caught up with every Patreon. If I have missed your name, go ahead and let me know. Please message me. Without further ado, I present you a competitive Noble Knight deck profile for this format. And yes, this deck is insanely powerful. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the actual deck profile, let's look at the stats. I think that Noble Knight is a very competitive deck. At the very least, I think it can consistently top regional levels events, but I would not be surprised if you see one or two sneak in that YCS top 32 and completely take people by storm. This is a very powerful deck, and the new cards from Soul Fusions gave it a huge boost of power and consistency. Starting off with the monsters so you guys can actually understand why we play certain cards and just why this deck is so powerful. We run 3 copies of Merlin. Now this guy is extremely powerful. Before he used to really hinder you by his restriction of only being able to summon Noble Knight monsters to your side of the field for the rest of the turn, but now the deck pretty much only summons Noble Knight monsters or spell summons Noble Knight monsters to your side of the field. So his restriction is almost non-existent. You can tribute him to spell summon a Noble Knight monster from your deck to your side of the field, and he actually allows you to mess with the ratios of certain Noble Knight monsters that were used to be played in multiple copies. You can actually cut them down to play other great Noble Knight cards that were introduced inside of the Soul Fusion set. He also has another ability that when he's in the graveyard, you can banish him to get a quick Synchro or Exceed fusion, or Synchro or Exceed summon, Exceed fusion, to your side of the field. That effect isn't used as much, but I guess it could come off often in a pinch. Now, when I was talking about how Merlin and the new cards in Soul Fusion actually enable you to play a lower count of certain cards, I meant that directly talking about only 2 copies of Noble Knight Mordred. Now, this might be like you might hear screeching in the background just because we're only running 2 Mordred. You guys might see it in the comment section, but I actually have a very sound reason. Between 3 Merlin, 3 Until Noble Arms Are Needed, 3 Heritage of the Chalice, and Reinforcement of the Army, we have 10 ways to search our Noble Knight Mordred, and if you count Mordred himself, that's 12 ways. Not only that, Mordred actually isn't a great card after your opening turn. He's a solid card if you're in a losing situation and you have a Noble Arms equipped spell card and a Mordred to search, which you have 10 ways to search, but if you already have Field Presence, he can't activate its effect. So I decided to cut Mordred down to 2, not only so we can play other cards inside of the build that can help us, but because Mordred is easily accessible to, and his combos are insane, but not when we already have Monster Presence, something that this deck can do really, really well. Next is 2 copies of Noble Knight Yvonne. This guy is insane. He is probably the reason why I can cut down Mordred to 2 with so much confidence, because he is another starter card on his own right. What he does is when he is equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell card, you can spell summon a Noble Knight token to your side of the field. So he essentially is a 1 card or a 2 card Isolde with an equipped spell. He just gets you so many power plays. Now, a lot of people don't realize that the token that you spell summon to your side of the field is a normal monster, so it actually does make room for you to play Gwaine effectively in this deck and use the token plus Gwaine to make the Isolde and essentially get the exact same starter as Mordred to your side of the field. I really do like Noble Knight Vaughn. He's just a really powerful card. He also gives your Noble Knight monsters 500 attack. That actually could come up sometimes. Next, I actually was in tears only playing 2 copies of Noble Knight Brothers because he is so useful. So first, when he is normal summon, you can special summon 2 other Noble Knight monsters from your hand, or up to 2 other Noble Knight monsters from your hand to your side of the field. That effect actually can come up quite a few times, ladies and gentlemen. It allows you to get some really sick combos off, especially when you combo with Vaughn and the quick spell card to get Isolde plus other monsters on your side of the field. But that's not the reason why we play him. The biggest reason is that he's a mini pot of avarice for the deck, allowing you to shuffle Noble Knight or Noble Arm cards into your deck to draw a card. So I feel that it's a mandatory to at least play 2, so one can shuffle the other. So you'll always have have the ability to have a long game to be able to shuffle your cards. Next is 2 copies of Noble Knight Kustonin. This guy used to be the man with the plan in Cybernetic Horizon when that set dropped. I still think he's a very powerful card, but 2 is probably the maximum number that you guys should run. He still has a great effect. You can spell summon him when you control a Noble Arms equipped spell card, and a monster used for an Xyz summon or Link summon gains the effect of allowing you to gain an additional normal summon for that turn. Now, the drawback is you can only summon Noble Knight monsters for the rest of that turn, but again, we've already talked about that. That's not necessarily a requirement. We do play enough Noble Knight monsters to help, you know, with the Noble Knight Kustonin's effect, but like I said before, he's just not as good as he once was because we have other options to get multiple Noble Knight monsters to our side of the field. Next is 1 copy of Noble Knight Boars. This card also kind of broke my heart to only play 1, but in all honesty, I still feel you only need 1. Being able to send Noble Arm equipped spell cards to your graveyard isn't great. It's okay if you really need a Noble Arms equipped spell card, that's good, but you really want to send your trap cards or your Gwens to the graveyard. That's where this guy has utility and where he's mad at. I think that he's awesome for setting up that, but sending the equipped spell cards is like way in the past. You don't really use him for that like that anymore. Next is 1 copy of Noble Knight Dristin. Now, for my Patreon members, we actually had to proxy this guy during a game. I wound up finding it. If you guys want to see more live duels of this deck, then I actually do have one on Patreon for Patreon members. But Dristin is really powerful because he gets you a free pop. He comes up so much to summon him on your opponent's turn and then equip him with your quick play spell to get your opponent or get a disruption off your opponent. Lastly, for the Noble Knight monsters is 1 copy of Noble Knight Gawain. Spell summon him when you control a normal monster. You run 1/2 inside of a Mordrake, 3/4 inside of Vaughn, and 5 inside of Boar. So that 5-to-1 ratio I thought was pretty good. We top it off with Gwenfar, Queen of the Noble Arms. This card is still really powerful, allowing you to destroy or protect cards depending on the attribute of the monster that she equips herself to. Now, that's it for the monsters. For the hand traps, I played 2 copies of Morgan, the Transition of Avalon. To be honest with you guys, I kind of want to drop 1 copy of Morgan because she's a great going first card. Like when you set up with your Noble Knight combo and you have her in your hand, you feel almost invincible. But going second, she does nothing because you can't put a Noble Arms card on your side of the field. So she's really good at negation. She can be activated in the damage step, which is cool, but I'm thinking about dropping her to 2 and dropping this to 2 and being able to play, you know, 2 copies of Effect Veiler or 2 copies of Ghost Bell. Nonetheless, you guys can play it however you want for you budget players that can't afford it. You can play 2 Morgan, 2 Effect Veiler, and a Ghost Ogre, whatever you guys can, as long as you guys are playing some hand traps, because this deck doesn't have really any type of forms of stopping your opponent if they go first. 3 Ash Blossoms, really powerful against some of the best decks of the format right now. This is probably the first time that I've ran Ash Blossom in like 3s in a very long time, but it's still a really good card. That is it for the monsters. At what I believe this is at 20, this is a 42 card deck. There are some cards you guys can drop, but I wouldn't recommend them. For the equipped spell cards, the Noble Arms, we run 2 copies of Noble Arms Destiny. Really good. It equips to one of your noble monsters. It can't be destroyed by battle or card effects once per turn. Probably one of the best ones. Noble Arms and Caliburn. Just to give you guys a little insight on Noble Knights, all of the Noble Knight equipped spell cards with the sword and the rock, they re-equip. So when they're sent to the graveyard while being equipped to a monster, they can re-equip themselves. The cards that don't have swords inside of the rock, except for Claritin, they don't re-equip. Excalibur would have been the best Noble Knight card ever, like the best Noble Arms card, but they decided to make this deck balanced and he can't re-equip. But it allows you to prevent your opponent from targeting, and he can actually turn one of your Xyz monsters into another Xyz monster if you banish this card. Next is 2 copies of Noble Arms Gallatin that free 1,000. That's pretty much it. It gives your monster 1,000. Not really anything to talk about that. 2 Caliburn. I think that this card is a little underrated. It gives you 1,000 light points if you play it right every turn, and it is one of the better Noble Arms equipped spell card. I run 1 copy of Noble Arms Clearant because you have to. I feel that the names are really important for being able to effectively pop off with ESO every given turn. And 1 copy of Noble Arms Arfuture, just really another name. I wouldn't run these 2 if it were just based solely on effect, but you kind of have to because of the name. That is it for the equipped spell cards. We run 3 copies of Reinforcement of the Army. This card has made this deck amazing. I know I called it Reinforcement of the Army, but it's a little better. You can add 1 Noble Knight monster or 1 Noble Arms card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Whoa, this card's savage. And then also, when one of your Noble Knight monsters is destroyed, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. Now, you can only use 1 effect once per turn, but if your opponent's destroying your cards, then go ahead and add this to your hand and you're good. It's a really powerful card. Next is 3 copies of Glory of the Noble Knights. I've seen some builds not play this. I've seen some people not play or play 2 copies or not play them all. I think that that is not the right way because getting into your equipped spell cards is really important. So this card is extremely important. 2 copies of Called by the Grave in your Reinforcement of the Army, stopping hand traps and searchability. And then to make it a 42 card deck, I actually run those in 3 copies of Until Noble Arms are needed. This is insane with boars. Sending this on your first turn to the graveyard is going to guarantee you another E-Soul and as well as an excavation depending on how your board is set up. That's it for the main board. For the extra deck, we get really simple. For the extra deck, we run 2 copies of Artigerous, King of Noble Knights. Really good. Basically, the older Noble Knight monsters, the level 5 Sacred Noble King of Artigerous and him, when they are Exceed summoned, you can equip up to 3 Noble Arms cards with different names to this card, and he destroys spell and trap cards up to the number of Noble Arms cards you control. So, really good. Next is 2 copies of Sacred Noble Knight of King Kustinen. I would run 3 if he wasn't a hard once per turn for his effects. His first effect allows you to detach materials to bounce cards on your opponent's side of the field. His next effect is that he's destroyed by an opponent's card, battle, or card effect. You can summon a Noble Knight Exceed monster to your side of the field and basically attach him as a material. And it's treated as an Exceed summon. So he's a very powerful card if your opponent decides to disrupt your plays. 2 copies of Sacred Noble Knight King of Artigerous. He is the big daddy card. He does the exact same thing as the King or Artigerous King of Noble Knights, except he allows you to destroy monsters as opposed to spells and traps. He's really good. Also, if he's destroyed into the graveyard, you can special summon a level 4 or higher Noble Knight monster in your graveyard. So that actually might come up a little bit too. That's it for the Exceed monsters. You can actually, there's one more you can run. You can either run Excited Knight or Abyss Dweller. I run Abyss Dweller if you guys, excuse me, if you guys see like Burning Abyss or True Draco in your meta. And Excited Knight is just there. Next, 2 copies of E-Soul, 2 Tails of Noble Knights. You only need 2 and you'll gain all of its effects fairly easy. This deck is built on using E-Soul to its maximum potential. Cerberus, Phoenix, just the generic links, Unicorn, generic link. Summon Sorceress, this card isn't even mandatory. There was times where we would summon this card out the wazoo. Now that just doesn't exist. Since we're restricted to Noble Knight cards more often than not, but we don't necessarily need her all the time. She's not really mandatory. Borlo Dragon and Boral Sword Dragon, just the best link 4s in the game. Outside of Firewall Dragon, FTK got combos. That is it for the extra deck. Let me show you guys some insane combos. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so our first combo is going to require Noble Knight Mordred in any equipped spell that can re-equip itself. So any equipped spell except for Caliburn, and we're going to be pretty much in there. What you're going to do is normal summon Mordred, equip the Caliburn. I'm just going to use Caliburn because, like, again, you can use anyone, but I'm going to gain 500 with Caliburn and then activate Mordred's effect, special summoning a Noble Knight Vaughn to my side of the field and destroying Caliburn to equip the Vaughn. Now, Vaughn's effect is actually going to trigger, I'm going to decide to trigger that effect to special summon a Noble Knight monster token to my side of the field. From there, it really depends on my hand scenario, but I'm going to use the Vaughn and the token for a link summon into my E-Soul 2 Tails of Noble Knight, and then use E-Soul 2 Tails of Noble Knight to add Noble Knight Vaughn back to my deck, or from my deck to my hand. I'm then going to follow up using Vaughn's effect, sending 4 equipped spell cards, so Clarent, Caliburn, Gallatin, and Destiny to the graveyard, to go ahead and special summon Noble Knight Brothers to my side of the field, using his effect to return 3 of these cards to my deck, 1 being Vaughn. I'm going to go ahead and return the Clarent because I have to. It's a name. And then from there, it depends on your situation. I'm going to go ahead and return the Caliburn to draw 1 additional card. That card will be blank. The next thing we are going to do, or the last thing we are going to do, is use both of these monsters for an Exceed summon. Now, you can use this Exceed summon into multiple things. You can either make the Sacred Noble Knight King Kustinen to bounce cards on your opponent's side of the field and control the board, or if you guys have like Morgan on your side of the field, or if you happen to draw your Until Noble Arms are needed, you can make the Sacred Noble Knight King Artigerous, equipping it with 3 equipped spell cards, or sorry, wrong one. the Artigerous King of Noble Knights, equipping them with 3 spell cards so you can pop off with your Until Noble Arms are needed and get so much needed advantage. That is just one combo that sets you up pretty well. Let me show you guys another one. Okay, ladies and gents, another 3-card combo is going to require Vaughn, Noble Knight Gawain, and any Noble Arms card that can requip itself. As a matter of fact, let me pull back the Destiny so I can get us the Noble Arms Caliburn, because, again, I think this is the best card to start off with your equipped. What you're going to do is normal summon your Noble Knight Vaughn and then equip it to the Noble Arms Caliburn, gaining yourself 500 attack, and then using Vaughn's effect to special summon the token. Now, this token is a normal monster, ladies and gentlemen, so go ahead and special summon that Noble Knight Gawain to your side of the field and use both of these monsters for a link summon into your E-Soul 2 Tails of Noble Knights. That's actually going to trigger your Caliburn. I don't know if I triggered it in the last combo, but you should trigger it to equip again and gain 500 more life points to a monster of your choosing, and then use E-Soul's effect to add from your deck to your hand Noble Knight Gawain, or not Gawain, where is that monster? Noble Knight Vaughn back into your hand. Use the effect of E-Soul to send 4 Noble Arms equipped spell cards from your deck to your graveyard. Actually, these are the 4, nope, not you. I am missing Destiny, yeah. These are the 4 to special summon to your side of the field that Noble Knight Brothers, and then use Brothers to return 3. Oh, you're actually on the field, aren't you? Yeah, so you, and you, sure. No, actually you. And then now you can use both of these monsters for the exact same thing. Your Exceed summon into your either Sacred Noble Knight Kustinin or your Artigerous of Noble Knights, using its effect to equip back to 3. So both of those combos are going to be pretty much the same. There are, of course, many ways to extend those combos, and I'm going to show you guys one that you will love. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so this extended 3-card combo, oh my god, it is amazing. It's going to set you up with so many extenders. It's not even going to be funny. It actually really made me want to consider running another Mordred. But again, these are starter combos. What you're going to do is normal summon the Mordred to your side of the field and equip it with your Noble Arms card that can be equipped. Use Mordred's effect to special summon Noble Knight Yvonne and then destroy the Caliburn to equip. Now, you should have gained 1,000 life points from the Caliburn to the Mordred and the Caliburn to the Vaughn. Then use Vaughn's effect to special summon a token to your side of the field, using both the Vaughn and the token for a link summon into your E-Soul 2 Tails of Noble Knights. Now, we're going to obviously add a monster from our deck to our hand we are not going to use in this combo sequence, like another copy of Noble Knight Vaughn. It kind of does not matter, but I'm going to go ahead and add Vaughn because this is just an excellent starter card on his own right. Next, I'm going to use E-Soul 2 Tails of Noble Knights effect, sending 4 different equipped spell cards from my deck to my graveyard to special summon a monster to my side of the field known as Noble Knight Boars. Now, I'm going to have all this in the graveyard, all nice and tucked. And lastly, we're going to follow up by equipping a Noble Arms Gallatin to our boards, or Noble Arms card to our boards. The second one doesn't necessarily need to be re-equipped. It doesn't really matter. But as long as we have another card to equip the boards. Now, that's going to trigger boards effects where we can show 2 copies of Until Noble Arms are needed and 1 copy of Gwynfar. To be honest with you guys, it does not matter. But best case scenario, you get Noble Arms are needed once again to your hand, and you can send these 2 cards to your graveyard. Use Gwynfar's effect to equip itself to the Mordred to make it 5. And then both of these monsters for an Exceed summon into your Sacred Noble Knight King Kus, or your Sacred Noble Knight King of Artigerous. That's going to trigger his effect. And look, we have every single equipped spell card to choose from. I'm going to use, oh, I forgot to send the Destiny. How could I be so foolish? Destiny is one of the better ones. So, oh wait, I did send the Destiny. All right, cool. I'm not slow. Yeah, I would choose these 3 to equip to my Sacred King my Sacred King Knight of Artigerous. And the reason why this is so powerful is because we have not 2 cards in our hand. We have the ability to excavate 3 cards and add to our hand. We have a Sacred Noble Knight that's basically can't be destroyed, can't be targeted, and is 3,200 attack. We also have the ability to special summon 2 Noble Knight monsters from our deck to our side of the field, 1 on our opponent's turn and 1 on our turn following up. That's what makes this combo so freaking powerful. The very last combo I want to show you guys is really simplistic. The only thing you need is 2 cards. You'll be able to disrupt your opponent. You need Until Noble Arms are once again in your graveyard and Glory of the Noble Knights face down. What you're going to do is banish Until Noble Knights Arms are needed once again to special summon your Noble Knight Dristan to your side of the field. And you guys should already be catching why we run Tristan just really powerful no matter how you put it, because then we can activate the effect of Glory of the Noble Knights, immediately equipping a card to Tristan, whether it is your, Destiny Prevented to be destroyed by battle, or a Gallatin, giving it 1,000 attack. That will trigger Tristan's effect, allowing you to destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field, which is the reason why I decided to max out on 3D's Kais, because giving yourself disruption on your opponent's turn is just really powerful. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and get a like, and if you didn't, let us know down below in the comment section what we could do to be better. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.